Ready or Not is based on one of the scariest childhood games, hide and seek. You know, the game where your friends tell you to hide and they'll look for you, but they don't actually look, instead they go home and you sit in a closet by yourself all day waiting until your mom finds you crying. You know the game. The movie is directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette, part of the filmmaking collective Radio Silence, which at the time included the movie's producer Chad Villella. This wasn't the first thing they made, but given the movie's performance, $58 million worldwide on a budget of $6, it definitely put them on the map, leading to bigger projects like Scream 5, 6, and Ready or Not 2. In Ready or Not, Grace is set to marry Alex Ladomis, but on the night of their wedding, she learns about a strange family tradition. Anytime someone new enters the family, they have to play a game. They draw a card to decide which one. For Grace, it turns out to be a deadly version of hide and seek. Namely, she hides and they try to kill her. If she's alive by sunrise, she wins. The movie opens in a dark mansion, panning across images of board games, which quickly sets the tone. Games like LaBelle's Gambit, featuring an image of Satan with a devilish grin. Actually, devilish is kind of already covered by Satan, so Satan with a grin. Games like Family Ritual or Secret Council conjure the idea of secret societies with strange rituals, like the Illuminati or Freemasons. It's also nice to get a new horror movie involving a mansion. It harkens back to the feel of old dark house movies from the golden age of horror. Two boys run through the hall, Alex and Daniel. Daniel sticks Alex in a hiding spot and tells him not to come out. Then Daniel turns to the guy in a wedding tux with an arrow in his stomach, the one bleeding out and begging for help. And Daniel helps all right, just not the guy bleeding.
He's in here!
With his location exposed, the Ladomis family, all in weird rich people masks, arrive, put another arrow in his chest, and carry him off for a weird rich people ritual, all while the bride, Helene, cries for them to stop. Horror movies often start with a kill that doesn't involve the main character. It's a way to start the action without delay and preview the danger ahead. Given it's become an expectation of the genre, the bloody opening gets bonus points for doing something different, something weird and attention-grabbing. Like a kid helping his family execute the groom in front of the bride. They've done it! 30 years later, we meet a new bride, played by Samara Weaving. She is definitely one of this movie's secret weapons. She makes Grace so immediately likable. Our introduction is her practicing the wedding vows, in sickness and in health, till death do us part, but she adds her own addendum that gets darkly honest. And even though your family is richer than God intimidates the hell out of me, your dad definitely hates me.
Me and your alcoholic brother keep shitting on me. I honestly can't wait to be a part of your moderately fucked up family.
Her dry humor, balanced with warmth and affection, makes her easy to root for. Weaving will also show a wide range of emotions in the movie, at times confident, at times vulnerable, at times running for her life, but it all feels part of a coherent character progression. We soon piece together the groom-to-be is Alex, the boy who hid in the movie's opening, and his alcoholic brother who keeps hitting on Grace is Daniel, the one who gave away the groom's location. Alex left the family a couple of years ago and only came back because he wants to get married, which means he has to go through the gaming ritual. Alex and Grace are all nerves as the moment approaches.
You ready for this?
Oh, fuck no.
Title reveal, which by following their frank admission further sets the movie's darkly comedic tone. That continues after the title, where behind all the rich people smiles are snide remarks. He could have done so much better. She's pretty in a last call at the dive bar kind of way, and so on. She'll never be one of us.
Of course not, dear. She has a soul.
Adam Brody as Daniel is fun as the cynical one who deals with the family trauma through dry wit. There's also Helene and her resting, very angry face. Seems she was quite affected by watching her own family slaughter her husband 30 years ago. We'll find out, however, that she coped by doubling down on the family tradition, becoming one of its most ardent followers. Wait a minute, where do I know this pool from? This is from Billy Madison. It's the Parkwood Estate, actually a pretty commonly used filming location. It was also used by X-Men, 12 Monkeys, the all-time classic Bulletproof Monk. Ready or Not was largely filmed at a combination of the Parkwood Estate and Casa Loma, but the movie blends them seamlessly into one location. The wedding goes by in a blur. At night, Alex confesses his family's bizarre ritual. At midnight, you have to play a game. You pick a card to find out which one, and then you don't even have to win. Just play. All part of the initiation. It's a testament to both performances, Samara Weaving as Grace and Mark O'Brien as Alex, that you buy the conversation, his confession of what's coming next, while clearly holding something back, and her willing to go along with the bizarre situation. It works because you believe in their history and love. Even without spending a lot of time establishing it, their performances and the writing sell it. Alex talks with his father, promising that after this, he and Grace will disappear again. He still wants nothing to do with this family. And the big question:
if she pulls that card, are you prepared to do what's necessary?
So we get the idea that most of the games are fine, could be as simple as chess or checkers, but that one game, if she pulls that card, hide and seek, that's the one which says the family has to kill the initiate by dawn or something bad will happen. We also get the idea Alex tried to avoid the gaming ritual altogether by avoiding marriage and just being with Grace. But she grew up with foster parents. It's important for her now to have what she calls a real, permanent family, make it official through marriage. So Alex acquiesced, and now they're here. Just before midnight, the family gathers. Tony and Becky, the patriarch and matriarch of the family. Tony's sister, Helene. Then Tony and Becky's children. Alex, of course. Daniel and his wife, Charity. Emily and her husband, Fitch. Plus Emily and Fitch's kids, Georgie and Gabe. There's also Stevens, the family butler. There is a lot of exposition in these opening 20 minutes, explaining the family backstory, the games, etc., but it never feels boring or like information overload. A lot of that is thanks to the humor and quick wit. There are so many Ladomises around, the camera can quickly move from one to another, wherever the most interesting or funny thing is happening. And the camera moves a lot. It's constantly moving around the room, from one room to another. It keeps things visually dynamic and provides some sense of space, which will be important once the game begins. Tony, played by Henry Czerny, who I mainly know as Eugene Kittredge from Mission Impossible, very fun to see how unhinged he gets in this movie. He kicks things off with a lore dump. Their company, Ladomis Family Games, which makes everything from playing cards to sporting goods, and recently acquired 4 professional sports teams, is wildly successful. How did they reach such heights? It began with Tony's great-grandfather, who befriended a Mr. LaBelle, a collector. They shared a passion for games of chance. After hours of card games and drinks, LaBelle pulled out his box and made a wager. If you solve the mystery of the box before reaching port, you'll be invited to explore the further regions of experience alongside the Cenobites, demons to some, angels to others. I might be thinking of the wrong puzzle box. If he could solve it, LaBelle would finance any endeavor of grandfather's choosing. And he did solve the mystery, which set his family on the path to ungodly wealth. And now, any time someone new joins the family, they place a blank card in that box, the initiate draws it, and on that card, LaBelle will tell them which game to play. Part of great-grandfather's deal with LaBelle. You'll never guess which card she picks. Mario Kart? No, of course not. It's Bomberman. Hope someone brought their NES 4-score. I love how quietly awkward things get after she draws hide and seek. It's when the masks start to slip. The family is so confident and smug, but they all hoped for any card but this one. The rules: Grace can hide anywhere in the house. They count to 100 and try to find her. And they don't get any unfair advantages. They shut off the security cameras to play the games as they would have been played in great-grandfather's time. It's tradition. To win, Grace must stay hidden until dawn. The count begins using an old record. I love an over-the-top jovial song used ironically in dark situations. This one is super effective because it was written for the movie, so they can purposefully layer in those sinister edges. Speaking of sinister, before the hide-and-seek song was written, they temporarily used 1932's Hush Hush Hush, Here Comes the Boogeyman, which was used in Sinister 2. I like that song better because it's public domain, so I can actually play some of it. But it was just used as a temp score until they can get the hide-and-seek song written by The Gifted, a band Radio Silence previously worked with on the movie Southbound. Grace hides in a dumbwaiter for about 5 minutes before deciding, screw this. She gets out and Alex quickly finds her. What is he so worked up about? When Emily shoots Clara in the face, mistaking Fitch's favorite maid for Grace, she gets the idea. This isn't your ordinary game of hide and seek, but because they're killing people. I thought we went over this already. A lot of the humor comes from the family's utter incompetence. Like, how did Emily think Clara was Grace when Grace is in a very recognizable white wedding dress? Also, why did she shoot her in the face? You're only supposed to maim them. They have to be alive for the ritual where then they're ultimately killed in sacrifice. The incompetence makes sense to a degree. These are posh rich folks. They aren't like you and me. We've had to fight for everything we have. Put a crossbow or axe in our hands and you better run and have some body bags ready. Am I right? But them. They aren't trained killers, and this card hasn't been drawn in 30 years. Their sloppiness comes from a believable place, and then it's exaggerated further for comedic effect. And on the other side of it, Weaving's more grounded performance helps to sell the stakes, so comedy does not come at the expense of real tension. While Clara bleeds out, Grace and Alex hide. Once the coast is clear, they run into the servant corridor, where he finally explains everything. How the family thinks they need to kill Grace by dawn or something bad will happen, and how if they got married without doing the game ritual, they both would have died. He's seen it happen with other relatives. It is funny just how much exposition we get in the first 20 minutes of the movie, but it works for me because it is so ridiculous. It's fun to see it all spelled out. You can sense they had the idea. A family tries to kill the bride in a game of hide and seek. Then they had to work backwards. How do we make this make sense? So they keep laying out rules to explain why it has to happen, why it couldn't be avoided, etc. My favorite part, when Alex kind of implies it was her fault.
You brought me here. You didn't warn me.
You wanted to get married.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You can imagine a lot of couples have had similar arguments in real life, but usually not with such life and death stakes, so it becomes pretty hilarious. He quickly tells her the plan. You run straight down the hall to the service kitchen. In there is a door that'll get you outside, but it's locked. So he'll run to the security room and unlock all the doors. You just have to look out for this creature, the girl. But don't worry, she's afraid of light. And I've been playing too much Resident Evil Requiem. How about the rest of the family? We often check in with them throughout the movie and see how each handles the situation differently. My favorite has to be Fitch, because it's the humor of treating the insane as totally mundane. They gave him a crossbow, so right now he's looking up a YouTube video on how to use crossbows. And who better to learn from than the writers of this movie? Yes, the video he watches is actually a sneaky cameo from Guy Busick and Ryan Murphy. Not the same Ryan Murphy as the American Horror Story guy. There's a classic rip the dress so you can run better maneuver moment. Then Grace runs, but Alex's directions suck because at the end of the hall, there's 2 doors. Does she go left or right? She picks a direction and ends up in the hall in front of Tony, Daniel, and Helene, disposing of the corpse. Except she's saved by Emily showing up and randomly shooting her gun all over the place, giving Grace a chance to escape. She gets to the study and hides until Daniel walks in and proves he isn't totally with the program.
I just came to get a drink.
He's going to give her a 10-second head start before alerting the family. He's sorry, but can't help her more than that.
This doesn't end well for you. I just don't want to be the one to serve you up.
By the time the family reaches the study, Grace is gone. Emily is upset because she lost her gun, so Fitch gives her the crossbow instead, which leads to another maid dead when Tina runs in and Emily puts an arrow in her mouth. When Tina's death moans make it hard to talk, Helene finishes her off with an axe, which doesn't sound as funny when you just say it out loud like that, but, you had to be there. Tony has an idea. Use the cameras. I mean, don't you think great-grandfather would have used the cameras if he had them? More scathing satire on the rich, showing how performative it all is. Tradition, honor, legacy, sure when it suits them, but as soon as things get tough, it melts away. More of Hollywood reassuring us, trust me, you don't want to be rich. Being rich is the worst. Soon Grace finds a shotgun and bandolier, then catches a glimpse of herself in the mirror.
Jesus.
She finds that service kitchen and tries shooting open the door to the outside, but the thing about bullets and guns, the bullets have to be in the gun. The butler walks in, she hides and quietly loads the gun, then click. The ammunition is display only. She smashes a glass kettle with hot tea over his head and runs to the hall, to the dumbwaiter, where she finds another maid, Dora. Dora yells to draw the family's attention, but accidentally hits the button which closes the dumbwaiter on her head. Another one bites the dust. Fun fact, that shot of the gears turning is not from an actual dumbwaiter. It's footage of the gears from the Big Ben. More movie lies. Meanwhile, Alex reaches the security room and opens the doors before Tony and Daniel apprehend him. Now Tony handcuffs him to a bedpost to stop him from interfering again. Then Helene chastises Tony. They never should have let Alex leave the family. In fact, Alex is the one meant to lead the family. He's the only one who's ever actually seen LaBelle. Apparently, when he was 5 years old, he saw the legendary man sitting in his chair. A hint that something supernatural might actually be at play. And that's something that further elevates the movie. The mystery of whether they really have to play the game or if it's just a tradition the family believes in a little too strongly. If they lost, what actually happens? That uncertainty, combined with the satirical humor, gives the movie its unique flavor. There's also something fun about taking a subgenre we associate with more classical horror, old dark houses, family curses, pacts with the devil, and smashing it against modern sensibilities, resulting in things like Fitch Googling Pacts with the Devil, real or bullshit? He also gets a text, and if you look at their text history, you see the word path, an Easter egg that'll only make sense later. Grace finally gets outside and runs to a barn where this little fucker shoots her in the hand, so she punches him in the face. Then a goat knocks her into the pit where they dispose of bodies. No old dark house movie is complete without at least one skeleton. Climbing the ladder out of the corpse pit is tough with only one functional hand, and they keep showing us this nail sticking out on top, so you know it's it's sticking through the same hand she got shot through. It's around here Grace starts to feel like a classic horror hero, like Ash of Evil Dead. She needs her baptism in blood and bones. She needs to take some damage and come out the other side heroic and soaked in blood. She gets out of the pit, wraps her wound, and runs, squeezing through the bars at the gate, tearing some of her flesh in the process. Someone drives by, she yells for help, and they tell her to get the f*** out of the road and drive off. Cameo, by the way, that is Matt Bettinelli Open's voice. Meanwhile, Daniel and Emily find Georgie. She's proud of him for shooting the girl, and Daniel is disgusted. He is definitely one of the standout characters, as one of the two who push back against family tradition. Obviously, Alex does too, but Daniel's pushback is more viscerally fun, the way he does it to their faces with sarcasm and dry wit. Unlike Alex, Daniel also never tried leaving the family, Instead, he's been stuck in it. Even his wife embraces the family, including this insane tradition. So it's ground Daniel down into something angry and alcohol-fueled, a character primed for a redemption arc. And with Alex tied up for a lot of the second half of the movie, Daniel kind of moves up as more of a co-lead with Grace. Outside in his car, the butler catches up to Grace. She fights back, chokes him out, and takes his car. As she drives off, she hits the trip safe button, connecting her to a AAA-like service. She explains the situation, begs them to call the police, and, well, the thing is the car's been reported stolen, so they have to shut it down. She gets stuck, the butler returns, hits her with a tranq dart, and drives her back towards the mansion while giving the family live updates over FaceTime, so they all get to watch when she wakes up in the back seat and kicks him in the head and the car crashes. Grace crawls out to find Daniel with a gun pointed at her. She begs for her life, reminds him he's a good guy, he doesn't want to do this. She's right, he doesn't, but he also makes a good point.
I can't let my entire family die because of you.
That touches on an angle that isn't explored too much, probably because it's too much of a bummer for a horror comedy, but if you're part of the bloodline and not with the program, it does put you in a tough spot. Kill this innocent person, or not just die, but let your entire family die, children included. You could argue Daniel is complicit. The right thing for the Ladomas family to do is stop marrying people, stop taking this risk. And Daniel himself did marry, so maybe that signs away his right to complain. But the children, it's not really fair for them. In any case, it makes Daniel an even more interesting character. The push-pull between doing the right thing or protecting your family. It also adds tension because you're never sure which side of the fence he's going to land on. With less than an hour to dawn, Daniel knocks her out, and Tony comes out from hiding, and they carry her back to the house. Still locked up, Alex tries sawing his handcuff chain against the bedpost to free himself. He stops when his mother arrives for a chat, and she asks, "Why did you leave the family?"
Oh, I don't know, Mom. I don't know, maybe one night when I was chanting and slicing the throat of a goat, it occurred to me it wasn't a completely normal thing to do.
What scared him most was how normal it felt, and he realized you'll do pretty much anything if your family says it's okay. When he met Grace, she was so good. It made him feel he could be good too. And again, not that the movie delves too deep into themes, but it does touch on something universal here. The way that whatever your family does, whatever you're raised in, becomes your normal. That can be good, and it can be bad. The way traumas, mistakes, and all the bad stuff can get passed down too. Grace wakes up tied to a table as they begin the ritual, when suddenly they all start vomiting blood. They were poisoned by Daniel, good guy after all. They run until Charity comes after them with a gun. Daniel puts himself in front of Grace, testing Charity's bluff. And no bluff. She pulls the trigger, and Daniel goes down as a bullet tears through his neck. Grace moves fast, knocks Charity out, and runs. Tony tries to stop her, so she hits him over the head with a lantern, then tosses it, starting a fire. Tony's wife Becky shoots an arrow, and it misses. When Grace gets LeBane's box in her hand, she doesn't miss. That's how Becky ends up on the floor with her skull cracked open. Alex arrives. He freed himself from the bedpost, found Daniel dying, and now he's found his mother dead at his wife's feet. All that violence against his own family has a way of swaying allegiances. He grabs Grace, not affectionately, and calls the rest of them in. Alex found Daniel dying in the foyer, by the way, the very same foyer they ran through as children at the start of the movie, creating a nice contrast between these two moments. Daniel protecting Alex here 30 years ago, and now dying in his arms. It's also always fun when a movie can make our relationship to the characters dynamic. My feelings toward Alex fluctuated throughout the movie. They were never positive, mind you, but fluctuated in just how negative they were. But there are some conflicting emotions. I can sympathize with the sadness.
You won't be with me after this, will you?
while recognizing the absolute selfishness of it, which aligns with his selfishness throughout the movie. She's fighting for his life, and all he's worried about is what it means for him. Will you still kiss me after all this? It also points to the ambiguity still of, is this all real? Clearly, he believes they can both survive this. But if you believe Tony, that's impossible. If she lives, they all die. They hold her down. Alex raises the blade, but she digs her fingernails into their hand and moves so the blade only hits her shoulder. She's still alive, and they see the sun has risen, and nothing happens except they all pop like blood blisters. But, other than that. The sound it makes when they explode, by the way. In the script, it's described as "paff," finally making sense of the Easter egg I mentioned earlier. Grace walks outside covered in Ladomus blood. She sits on the steps outside and lights a cigarette as the house burns down behind her, and the cops finally arrive. I think any other ending would have been disappointing. We all want to know, what happens if they betray their pact with LaBelle? We get to see it, and it's spectacular. They could have chosen any way for them to go out, but exploding? Genius. It continues the movie's over-the-top treatment of violence, so it's cartoon enough to still be funny, even when children are exploding, which is tastefully done off camera. It means drenching Grace in yet more blood, finally turning her into an Ash Williams-like hero. And LaBelle plays that hide-and-seek song again while it all happens, making it hilarious, but also weird and kind of unsettling. Then, the brilliant choice to have Grace laugh after it all. Apparently, that was a choice Samara came up with while filming, and it works so well. Like, the situation is too insane for the mind to comprehend. So yeah, you laugh. LaBelle also appears as an apparition and kind of tips his hat to her, which feels like a nice punchline to it all. Like, gotta hand it to you, kid. You did a great job. And for that 1 second, you see something, yes, them exploding is supernatural, but an actual ghost kind of puts it on another level. I should also mention, before they all die, Tony tries to convince them the threat is real by mentioning other families that have gone through this before.
You all remember what happened to the Van Horns, right?
Didn't they just die in a house fire?
Yeah, that's what the press told you, but you don't want to know how they really died.
So that means this family is not the only one with demonic pacts. You think that could mean sequel? Yeah, I do. At the time of writing this, that sequel is out in about a week, so make sure you're subscribed to see my video on Ready or Not 2 once that movie is out. Overall, Radio Silence proved with Ready or Not that they know how to balance horror and comedy by rooting that comedy with satirical logic, exaggerating something real, and providing character motivations for all the absurdity. And where it matters most, the characters we're attached to, they keep things grounded enough to still retain a sense of drama and stakes.